So here is the recap of the end of turn 2. Japan came in and took Sumatra, Celebes, and Dutch New Guinea. And the importance of these two, I wasn't going to do Celebes, but I sacrificed a transport to hit it alone to get me to 40 on the income tracker, which gives me 4 victory points for the turn. So that moves Japan up to 7 of the 22. So very important to get that extra point, or IPC to get that extra point, because you never know. I mean, America's putting out stuff like nobody's business. So they did take this one, which was a walk-on. They just walked everything over and gave up Northern New Guinea, which, you know, whoops, is nothing. No point value there. And then, you know, Britain or Anzac counterattacked with the fighters and all these guys. They got the 4 hits they needed. Japan got 3 back, so it was costly for Anzac, but they did take that to move them down to 39. So now Japan has to find that extra point, and the only spot is that one right there that they can reach. So New Guinea will be a battle again on turn 3. They came over and got the lone destroyer that was in Sea Zone 15, which brings that convoy, British convoy, under Japanese control again. So that was important. He killed a destroyer and took $5 away from Britain, which is hurting, because you'll see I put a bomb marker. I made a mistake on counting their income last turn. They didn't have 10. I forgot to subtract 4. They only had 6. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, and you're giving them all 7, so they had $13 to spend. So, with this Japanese naval victory down here in the sea, they wiped out all this. Really, on round 1, they got everything plus a hit on the battleship. And then Britain defended by killing 2 and damaging the battleship. So, and then they missed on the second round of combat with that damaged battleship. So, light casualties for Japan, but devastating for Britain, because at $13, if they're maxing out that convoy money, they're not building that navy. So they took the navy down here, which was the destroyer they built last turn, and got rid of that transport. So another Japanese transport down. This transport here that was by itself, the fighter came up, rolled efficiently. No ones were rolled, so it escapes. These are all casualties of the New Guinea battle. And what else we got up here? Oh, the other battle up here, the 2 destroyers that were off Pearl Harbor. All the fighters swung down and then flew back to the carrier. So they managed to kill the 2 destroyers, but they lost a fighter. So casualties still mounting for Japan. U.S. basically came down here to protect the Anzac fleet from the aircraft that are mounting here. All the Japanese transports had moved back, so now they'll come on the next turn. The main fleet is here in the center at Carolines Islands, and we'll see what they do from there on this following turn. Like I said, the U.S. 3 fleets. The fleet they built, the fleet at Pearl Harbor, which is on this card, and then a smaller one down here in Sydney. But I'm starting to see now where Japan's main focus early on needs to be this part of the map, because they can squeeze out Britain and start to punish Anzac and leave it up to just the U.S. to come in to win the game. So I don't know if I had enough Navy over here at the beginning, but you know, it's first game, so a lot of things learned. And you know, China, Japan advanced in a couple free territories for no reason other than here now we're able to hit the road with all those units in both territories. So hopefully we can start taking away some China money and, you know, maybe move towards Burma and put the crush on Calcutta there before the U.S. arrives, because there's no one coming from the Europe side of the map to help them out at all. So that is where we're at the end of round 2. I'll slide over here so you can see that money situation. There's your IPCs. You know, Anzac fell down again. Britain's at 6, and really until Burma falls, they're going to be at 6. And then the convoy money is down to 7 now. With all these British ships, I think these 2 convoys go away, and they may be at 0 on that convoy money for next turn, but I'm sure the U.S. will alleviate the one on the Solomon Islands. That Japanese sub's not going to be able to hang out there for much longer. And let's go to turn 3, and I will be back with a recap there. Like I said, Japan is now at 7 victory points. Well, here's the recap of turn 3. Japan came down to retake the Dutch New Guinea. They killed the transport that was there. They also, with a destroyer, brought 1 infantry to go against that 1 artillery in New Guinea with some planes, and the artillery hit, so failure on that attack, so Japan did not get that one. The next attack, 1 transport came down with 2 guys, but with some planes to go after these 2 fighters, Anzac fighters. And the Anzac fighters both hit, you know, no doubt, they're at 4. So they killed the 2 guys, but they were also killed themselves, so mutual destruction again, so no conquering territory. Neither one of those was worth a point, so the only thing missed out on there was be that naval base. But I don't think anybody could have used it. Well, yeah, the U.S. could have used it, or they can use it next turn if they want to combine their fleets in this sea zone. U.S. came up with some planes, sank the Japanese transport. U.S. took the convoy box back for Britain. Prior to that, on Japan's turn, the rule states that all you got to do is drive through the convoy zone to claim it. So this battleship just did that maneuver and is parked there. The carrier that was here came up here, attacked that destroyer with the plane's sub. The destroyer got a hit, so the sub goes. The destroyer was killed in that action as well. So before the Britain turn, the convoy zones were down to 0. So they got no convoy dollars for this turn. They will get 5 unless Japan comes back here into this convoy zone and takes it back. I mean, you could send an Anzac ship up here, but then you're throwing away $12 to gain 5. So I'm letting the U.S., you know, use its resources to take that convoy zone back. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, you're just throwing money away, throwing, you know, high dollar units away for low dollar reward there. So those were the Japan did take a couple territories up north. China took 1 back as a walk-on. Japan attacked Yunnan there to try and break that Burma road. They did get 6 hits, but out of the 8 that were there, they got 4 back. So I backed off back into French Indochina and reinforced from Japan for a massive turn next turn. So these are all casualties, so I'll get those off the board. So it was kind of a attrition battle there. And UK on their, or Britain on their turn, they had $6. They just bought 2 guys. They've kind of pulled back a little bit out of Yunnan because Japan's going to be hitting it pretty hard. They just mainly have to hang on to their capital at this point, which is the main reason why the U.S. is coming down south instead of going north towards Japan. I think U.S. has got to get engaged here in the south to try and take some of that heat off of Britain over there in India. And like I said, Anzac, they didn't do any attacks. They just built. U.S., I already told you about their 2 attacks, and then they shifted their forces down here. So that card down here is, you know, 2 carriers, battleship, 2 destroyers, 3 transports. So it's starting to build up. When this fleet combines with Pearl, then they're going to outnumber the Japs in every way, shape, and form. So I think Japan's going to have to start pulling its navy together from being spread out over the board. But they kind of had to do all that to clear out, you know, those British ships and take all those islands and such. That is the end. I'll slide the camera over here. That's a little crazy on the tripod there, but there's where your UPCs, 40 for Japan, so they get the magic 4 again. That puts them at 11 victory points. So they are halfway to victory. You know, 6 for Britain, 11 for Anzac. Still 72 for the U.S. So they're pumping out units like crazy. But at this point, that's where she stands at the end of turn 3. And let's head over to turn 4, and I'll catch you with the recap on that one. Here we are at the end of turn 4 on the recap, and Japan went into, I can't see the country there, but it's worth nothing. But then they went into Yunnan as well. There was just 1 infantry here. This was defended by these guys who were killed, and they only took, Japan only lost 2 on that take. So that was the Yunnan battle. So they held the road, and China with 8 infantry, actually I forgot to add their 2 in for their turn, so I'll put those on there. So they had 8 infantry and a fighter, which was not going to go into Yunnan there and try and take, what is it, 7 infantry, 4 artillery, and 2 tanks. So they're heavily outnumbered there. But I did forget to put the 2 Chinese infantry there. And China really, unless maybe I'm playing something wrong, there's not a lot of involvement here with China on this game, other than stacking their capital there, which is one of their 2 territories with a point. They haven't had much of a factor in this game. Japan took Shan State from Britain. And then Britain came with the counterattack very successfully and killed all 4 of the Japanese units to the loss of their 1. But to do that, they had to leave that transport, use those planes there. But the transport has nothing to move, so no big deal there. So they took back Shan State, gave them a little bit of breathing room, but most likely, you know, Japan's going to just move and dump everything in there. And, you know, joy to the world. We'll see how that holds up. But it doesn't look good for Britain. Japan also came down here and took both of the 2 remaining territories for New Guinea. Worth no points. And this one, the U.S. came in with its transports that were here off Sydney and took it back from Japan, and they just traded infantry 1 for 1. So all these guys are there. Whoop, there now. But what that did was, by taking that naval base, all the units that were here at Pearl Harbor could go 1, 2, and 3. And join up with the chip that came up from Sydney, which is sitting down here. So the U.S. is squaring off with Japan. That was really the only assault for Japan. Anzac did nothing but just reposition its forces to actually be more helpful. They've got a plane on the combat air patrol to try and help defend that destroyer transport. if Japan wants to come over top and then not deal with that. But the two chips are squaring off. The US chip has 4 carriers fully loaded, 2 battleships, 2 destroyers, 4 transports, 1 sub, and then 1 Anzac destroyer as well. Japan's chip, 3 fully loaded carriers, 3 destroyers, 2 subs, and 2 battleships. So US has the advantage for sure, and we will see. I have to decide here, figure up what the attack needs to be, because really what Japan needs to do is get rid of these stinking transports. The rest of this doesn't matter as far as being able, well, I guess they can support Anzac though in their conquest or reconquest of islands. So that's where we are at the end of 4 on the battle board. And then looking here at, you know, and you know, when we look back at the income tracker here, it doesn't change much. All the territories this turn that were taken and lost were of no point value. Japan was at 40 again, so they got 4 more points. They are at 15 of the 22, so they're getting close to winning this. I think as the Allies, a better strategy needs to be taken here. But my first game, so it is what it is. So I will get back with you at the end of turn 5. Here's the recap of turn 5. However, there's going to be one big naval battle, so I thought I would show that. Lost my pencil. There it is. Japan eliminated Shan State again, went in with all the planes available, infantry, tank, artillery, and took out the 3 British artillery, and Japan lost 1 of its own. Burma was a free walk-in, so no battle there. They did come over here to take away the British convoy again, bring them back to 0. Britain on its turn came back and relieved it, brought the convoy back up to 5. I'll take that off. We had 2 battles. Japan, I didn't think they were strong enough to take on the US Navy. You know, I really wanted to get the transports, but then it occurred to me I had like 6 planes plus the infantry and artillery that were on New Guinea. So I went into New Guinea to kill what would go on the transports. So there were 7 units there, wiped them out on the first turn. However, the 7 units got 4 hits back and wiped out all the Japanese infantry. So another battle where everyone dies and nobody changes the territory. So that's all the casualties there. Let's scoop those off. The other 3 planes, I thought, let's get rid of that Anzac transport. So we flipped, come over the top, because we're at that, got that air base there, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go in there, we had that plane on combat air patrol, so it defended. Got 2 hits out of the first 3, so killed the transport, the destroyer. The return fire got 2 hits, so Japan lost 2 fighters, leaving the bomber versus that. I thought maybe I'd need the bomber on this next turn, so I backed out. But the objective was completed because I got rid of that transport. Now, there was a carrier and battleship here, so I used the naval base to naval base move, you know, 1, 2, 3, to fortify my chip, leaving this open, and the lone Anzac transport has slipped around. I've got no way to get it, so I will be losing an island on the next turn. However, I'm thinking there is no next turn, and let me show you why. Before I do though, the US chip here or naval marker will be attacking the Japanese naval marker there, or task force marker, or however you want to say that. So this ship is attacking that, and there were some planes from Hawaii, there was a bomber here, there was a plane here in the Solomons, all converging into one big battle. And it's over here on the battle board. Let me adjust this down a little. Looking at the board there first, after Japan's turn they were at 41, so they got 4 more points, so they went to 19. Very unlikely that the Allies will get them below 3, 30 on this next turn, so that'll get them to the 22 and a victory. And even they might lose India up there on this next turn, although it looks pretty tight right now. It is fairly well defended, but I think they're going to win on that victory point. So that's why I thought, well, might as well roll this naval battle, which is down here in the bottom area. And let me slide this over. I can get that dice tray in there, I believe. Let's take a peek. Well, I can get most of the dice tray in there. Let's just adjust it a little bit. There we go. Alright, so let me grab my dice. And they ended up pretty equal on the carriers. The advantage, however, is going to go to Japan in the fact that their carriers defend at 3, and then the U.S. carriers attack at 1. So that is what it is. Let's go ahead and put our little calculator up there. Let me flip this around and see if I can see what's all in. So let me adjust it up. Alright. So for the battle, as you can see, it is a lot of aircraft. And we will see how it goes. So U.S. goes first with 4 at 1. They've got one, of course. Anti-aircraft rules. Lovely. They have a 2. There's a hit. Now 3s. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 3s. So I'll roll that twice here. There's 6 3s. Oh, 4. So it's looking good for the Allies so far. Oh my gosh. And that was 5. Alright, so now they got the 4s left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need one more 4. Whew, man. 15 hits. That is impressive. So obviously we're going to take 3 on the battleships. So we'll turn those over, leaving 12 more. Which will be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're going to have to take 1 fighter. We'll just take, 1 fighter. Alright, so let's defend ourselves. So we got a 1 and 2 2s for the transport and 2 subs. Of course, that's how we're going to play that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be 8 3s. Here's 6. Well, that's a pretty good roll. 2 more. Alright. Now the 4s. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 4s. So I'll roll this. This is 5. Alright, there's 4. There's 3 more, and that was 10. So they got 2 more rolls. 2 more. So the Allies lost 14. So that was pretty even up, 14 to 13. And so we're going to lose the 4 carriers. We'll just slide all the losses over here. Alright, so there's 4 carriers and a sub. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Whoops, put 2 back. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or did I count that wrong? Let's count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, so we could be looking at mutual destruction here. 2, 4, 5. So 5 threes. 4 hits. So that's impressive. And then they have 5 fours. Well, the camera clicked off mid-battle. I believe where it was the Allies had attacked in the second round and got 6 more hits. And then Japan was defending itself. But then the camera kicked off because the SD card was full. So now I'll roll for Japan's hits back. With the 6 they lost, and then the 5 that they still have left. So here's 5, so that's 4, and I got 1 more of the dead, that's 5, and then I got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I didn't need that extra one. Alright, there's 4 more. So that is 9. So that'll be 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Japan comes out ahead with 2 fighters, 3 bombers, or 3 battleships versus the Allied bomber. And even if Japan would have come out with the loss there, I think nothing really changes because all the units are gone for the transports, and the Allies will not be able to snag enough points to prevent the victory at the end. So overall, I think the game here, Axis and Allies Pacific, the 2001 version, big fan. I think it was fun. I had some fun playing it, and definitely will play it again. Alright, well, we had an interruption there. The second battery died today. That one was a fully charged one when I started, so had to change batteries, and I don't remember where I was in my ending speech here, so I will just try and go through what I thought was interesting. Like I said, I would recommend this game if you're thinking about getting it, or you have it on the shelf and haven't played it. You know, it was a fun game. If I wasn't filming, I would have got done a lot faster. And then, of course, the other thing too is it was my first time playing it, so there was some things to kind of keep track of while we're going. But like I said, I think I made a few mistakes as the Allies. One is that this fleet down here in this corner of the map, there's a battleship, a carrier, and a fighter that start down there. And honestly, I didn't see the C-zone configuration, which allowed more planes to reach down here where I had them, so that when Japan's turn came and I saw that, it's like, oh, well, now I can hit them with more planes and wipe them out. And they didn't chew into Japan as much as I thought they might. So I really don't know what the correct play is there for those ships down there in the corner of the map. But you know, someone that plays this game a lot and maybe has a better idea. I'll try something different next turn. But then again, maybe Japan, you know, whether it's me or someone else playing it, maybe Japan doesn't have naval and air assets down in here that prevent it from running back, you know, towards Australia, because I think coming up here to India is probably a death sentence. Of course, it was anyway. So, but that's that's just how the game played out. I like I said, I would recommend this game. It was a fun game, easy to play in an afternoon. All right, so here's the overall first game of Combat Theater, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And if you have the means to get this game, I would give it a thumbs up. And until next time, keep rolling dice.